Ready to go, RTG. I'm chilling here. I got my chill Christmas sweater on. It's hard to align myself here. And I am with my promised guest, Lanny Poffo. Lanny the Genius Poffo, as you guys know him. Lanny coming to us live on his phone from Ecuador. Lanny, welcome to whatever you call this. I don't know if it's the Tom Shalhoub show or the Tom Shalhoub podcast or Tom Shalhoub live in front of a bunch of alcohol bottles in his basement.
El gusto es mío, señor.
You're already, oh my gosh, you're already South American.
You know, I keep confusing you with Adam Schiff. And
no, this is Adam here. Ooh. You were impeached. You can't be impeached from South America, Lanny Poffo.
And I already apologize that they're doing some construction on my condo. And I was going to act like Lawrence O'Donnell saying, stop with the hammering.
Yeah,
stop with
exactly.
The hammering.
Exactly. Well, from what I understand, the time zone is the same there. Am I right?
It's the same time zone as Eastern time, except when it gets to daylight savings time, we don't move, but you do.
Ah, yeah. You don't need to save. Who needs to
save
save daylight when you're in paradise, right?
No, when you're we're 1 degree south of the equator. And the temperature is 70 degrees low, 80 degrees high, or 21, 27 if you're Celsius.
Yes. So
it's Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold. My porridge is just right.
It's the mama bear of
yes.
Now, Lanny, you wrote an article for ProWrestlingStories.com, which I read. From hurricanes to earthquakes, the next chat. Oh, wait a minute. That's the. Am I on the wrong article? No.
It's from. No, that's the right article.
Yeah, it's the right article. You are in Ecuador. You are essentially. Do you call it semi-retired, or are you retired?
I am retired, but just as soon as I got here, ITV contacted me and through Skype, and they sent some people in from Guayaquil, like 5 people, a producer, light man, sound, and all these people, to make it work. And then they did an interview with me about Randy.
Yeah. Randy Macho Man Savage, your brother.
Yes, my brother.
Wrestling legend, and they I always want to talk about Lanny Poffo, but I'm sure a lot of times in the interviews, these people want to talk about Randy Macho Man Savage, the legend that he is, right?
Well, yes, and I'll tell you what, being the brother of the Macho Man Randy Savage has never been anything but a blessing for me, not a curse. I would have not got to the heights I did, because let's face it, Tom, wrestling is about favor, not merit. And it's not like Secretariat. It's not because they liked him, but because he won. And wrestling is favor, not merit. And I know you're shocked, because you grew up with this.
I know. Well, look, I grew up. See, when I was a kid, it was let's see if we can remember the tag team, Fuji and Tanaka tag team champions. There was Chief J Strongbow. I used to watch wrestling from my home in Massachusetts, and it was the early days of the professional wrestling world. But your dad, we always talk about my dad when you come around, because you wrote a great poem in tribute to my dad, and you sent me Angels with Dirty Faces, which I watch with my kids, and it was Angelo Poffo, am I right?
Yes.
And he was a wrestler.
He was a wrestler, and he opened the door for my brother and I.
Yeah.
And, and my brother, of course, opened the door for yours truly, to get to the very pinnacle of wrestling. It was actually it was October 31st of 1989 that I wrestled Hulk Hogan on NBC, Saturday night's main event. And then they took out all the boring parts, and then they played it on Thanksgiving weekend. And I'll tell you what, it was... Now, my father had a world record for sit-ups and was featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Holy cow.
So Macho Man came up to me, and he was type A, and I was like the beta male.
Yeah.
Okay? And he says, here's the deal. For the funeral, I need you to write a poem for Dad. but don't make it long and boring, because you can be long and boring. So I said, 'twas back in 1945 on Independence Day, the Nazis had surrendered. Japan was on its way. My dad was in the Navy. As history will tell, as he was bleeding through the mats, a world record fell. He did 6,000 sit-ups with an extra 33 to glorify our Savior who died on Calvary.
Holy cow.
And Robert Ripley's feature celebrated this event. Giving credence to success is not an accident. That's always been his motto through times both good and bad. He's a real Hall of Famer and the world's greatest dad.
Awesome. Not long and boring. Now, you guys, the professional wrestling, most of them tried out a few different personae. You were not always the genius. What was your first iteration?
I was Leaping Lanny. And
That's right, Leaping Lanny, of course.
I was like a suffering hero. And I was trying to imitate Gary Cooper in High Noon. You know, like how he would wince and everything.
Yeah.
So then when I became the genius, I became somewhat effeminate and was kind of like a comedian in a very serious business. Everybody else was going, all the bad guys were going, I'll moiter the bum. And me, I was going, you know, like I was doing a little bit.
You were effete.
I was effete, and I was in touch with my feminine side.
Yes.
Although these are rumors that I've never denied.
And even Randy was he the Spider or some type of Spider-Man at the beginning? Yeah.
And the damnedest thing was, he was a Spider-Man, and guess what happens in 2002? He gets a role in Spider-Man.
That's right. With Tobey Maguire.
He played Bonesaw McGraw.
Yeah.
And you know, he's so macho that they asked him if he wanted to get a stunt double to take some of those maneuvers. And he's, you know, he can't do that. Come on. So sorry, I'm getting texted. I hope that isn't interfering.
No, I like hearing all the noise. Let's go over all of you are in Ecuador. Yes. The windows are open, so we may be able to hear the ocean. We also are hearing construction because they're always working on those condos down there, right?
Right. As a matter of fact, I will, here's the ocean. And
oh my gosh.
And there they are working on, but there's the Pacific Ocean. And, you know, it's a big ocean. We can all share it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
what they're trying to do is they're switching from private sewage to Manta Ecuadorian sewage. So they're taking the pipes and taking them to, I didn't ask, but, you know, it's about the septic sewage or whatever. And I've tried to contribute in my own small way to this sewage mess.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do it, right? You got to keep regular. But
I'll tell you something, Tom, and you might be interested in this.
Yeah.
In South America, many countries, you know, you're not allowed to flush toilet paper that is used. Instead, you put it in the basket.
Yes, that was when I went to Mexico. I was in Tulum.
Yes.
In the I guess what they call the Mexican Riviera. Very beautiful. But we were in these wonderful huts. But the toilet was next to a basket, and the toilet was just basically a hole, and then you had to put the toilet paper into the trash, essentially.
Well, I will have you know that I haven't used toilet paper in 35 years.
Wow.
Isn't that the world record?
I mean, that's a world record to rival your dad's 6,000 sit-ups.
I've got a bidet.
Oh, I see. And you've got.
I go on Amazon.com. Before I left, I picked. You know, it's like $50, $75, depending on if they're having a Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I don't listen. That genius thing is tough to live up to, and I'm not very handy. But I always have somebody help me with it. Although you can go, it's a Lux bidet, and it's attached. It's an attachment. You know, when I was in Japan, there was not one hotel that didn't have a bidet.
Really?
But they use Toto, the first name in bidets.
I
see. Even when I'm on the road, I bring a private, personal bidet with me that is battery operated.
Are you kidding? And you can what? Do you hook it up to the system in your hotel room or whatever?
Okay. If if it's portable, you turn it over, you flip it, and then you fill it with water, and then and I'll tell you, it's not as good as the one I have, of course, installed here.
One would imagine.
But it's still better than, I think toilet paper is just horrible. I mean, let me ask you a question, Tom.
Yeah.
You're a very, very clean man.
Yeah.
When you're done eating, do you wipe the dishes or wash them?
Well, you know what? I cannot argue with that logic. I cannot.
I feel you're with me here. Yeah, we have simpático, they say in Spanish.
So now, Lanny, you're gone. You're in South America. You're in Ecuador. You're retired, but I imagine you come back to the States now and again. But basically, the idea is you're in paradise. You're on the ocean. What made you go to Ecuador?
Well, I went to Medellin, Colombia. Yeah. I went to Costa Rica. I checked out a lot of places. Yeah. Even was considering Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines. By the way, what's a Filipino contortionist?
What is a Filipino contortionist? I don't know, Lanny.
A manila folder. Sorry, I apologize. But
I've been to Manila as well. I went to Manila via I was doing a Asian tour through China, but we stopped and did some shows in Manila. Very exciting.
I'll tell you what. But what really, see, I was planning. I took care of my mother for 6 years after my brother died.
Yeah.
And don't expect a punchline here. It was horrible. She was devastated. And I took care of her for 6 years. I sold my house, moved in with her, took care of her for 6 years. And she finally passed away on June 3rd, 2017 at the age of 90.
Wow.
And I have to tell you, it was very lucky that my father died 1 year before my brother, because even though he had dementia, he would have known. You see what I mean? He wasn't that far gone where he wouldn't have known. So I only wish that she would have missed that episode in life.
Yeah. But you were there for her. I mean, how fortunate that you were there for her and you could do that. You could move in with her. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, you know what? I'm not trying to make myself, some demigod here. She took care of me when I needed her. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be the least I could do is do my best for her. But I finally said, do you want to live or do you want to die? She says, I want to live. I said, then notify your face, because I want to see a smile out of your face.
Yes.
I want to see a smile. And she says, I can't. I said, fake it till you make it. We're wrestlers.
Well, that's it. You've always been positive. What is it about you? You are you're a motivator. You're a motivational speaker. I'm attracted to positive people. You tend to radiate a positive energy. Where did that come from?
It came from Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Really?
Yes. And I still, believe it or not, I still on YouTube all the time about Dr. Wayne Dyer. Okay. So also, my 5th grade teacher, mm-hmm. was Miss Rufinacht, who became Mrs. Mokel. And, I was like a little bit of I guess I was shy back then. And she says, Mr. Poffo, I want to see you at 3:20. And I said, well, what did I do? And I was like really nervous to go up to her. That was when school was closed. And she says, Lanny, I had you write 2 articles, 2 papers. One is, tell me a little bit about yourself. And the other was how I spent my summer vacation. And what you wrote was just wonderful. And I went, me? And I thought about Casey and the Sunshine Boys weren't a thing then, but because I'm a bit older than you. Yeah. So but the baby, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, yeah.
And believe it or not, we're still friends. And I dedicated my first book to her. And it was, they said she had 6 months to live, but she was in the hands of God, not just a lab report of some physician. Now, many years have come and gone, and I just saw her yesterday. She told me her disease was in remission. My 5th grade teacher means so much to me and several hundred more who witnessed her courageous walk of faith when God created each of us the seventh day he rested, just to come back even stronger on the eighth. He's been teaching by example at Pierce Downer School in Poffo, and many lives have changed because of that. I knew her as Miss Rufinock, but she is Mrs. Mokel now, so I'll just dedicate my book to Pat.
You don't forget these, Lanny. I can't believe it. You can rattle these things off.
Well, here's the problem. That genius thing is hard to live up to.
Yeah.
So I was unable to assemble my bidet. And since I was going to be the beneficiary of all this cleanliness, and, you know, but the thing is, if I love the poem, I will remember the poem.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's especially what a wonderful thing it was for me. And we're still friends, by the way. It was just great to have her as my teacher. And that kind of like turned me around at the 5th grade level.
It's amazing. It's amazing the influence these folks have.
Yeah.
And it makes me think this year with the schools closed, I just feel, I always tell people what a tragedy it is that all the schools are closed in the US, because I want everyone to think back to any year, pick your year, 4th grade, 5th grade. Imagine think of all the things that happened in 5th grade, all your friends, the girls in the school you might have had a crush on, all, you know, your teacher, you know, the projects that they made you write, all of these things gone, and you're home sitting staring at a computer. It's just so terrible, you know. But hopefully they'll all be back in school soon. And I want to read a comment here on the side because I'm just looking at things. Rich is watching on Twitter, and he says, Lanny Poffo talking bowel movements. I can die happy now. And we've got, will the genius make a comeback?
Well, probably not, but I do have one fantasy.
Yeah.
This is my fantasy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Not about the BM. It's about another thing called opportunity. I feel that the world lost a lot when Red Eye was taken off the air.
Oh, so true, right?
And I also feel that somehow there might be an empty seat. And if that seat is empty, and if I have a viable audition, then yours truly will get on the first plane right to New York, and I will do my best for you.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we'd love it. We'd love to reconstitute it and get you on there. And definitely keep in touch. Let me know when you're in New York. But it looks like you're hitting it big in Paradise. I asked you about the ocean. So you're not a swimmer in the ocean, but you do swim because you got the pool.
I have the pool. It's a heated pool. I have a jacuzzi. It's just that when the ocean comes rushing to the shore, it's gotten on my ankles. And I said, too cold.
Oh, it is cold. I'm thinking, you know, you're south of the equator. I would think this kind of steamy water, but no, you're saying it's.
Well, the truth is, when I went to Esmeraldas in Ecuador about 3 years ago, see, I've made several trips to Ecuador trying to figure out where I would retire.
Yeah.
On the Pacific coast, there's a town called Esmeraldas, and there's a place called Casablanca, and there's also Playa Same. And that was like 90 degrees, 100 degrees. It was like incredibly hot.
Yeah.
But where I am, 70 degrees low, 80 degrees high. And it is just so pleasant here. Now, like I said, 1 degree south of the equator. And listen, I am not trying to coerce anybody to come down and visit, although Ecuadorian Coastal Properties and I have become soulmates. And I've already sold 3 properties and got commission.
Oh, that is it. That's the way. Can you, let me ask, because I remember when I was staying in Mexico, some people had moved there to Mexico, and I said, how did you get this place? And they said, well, you don't really own it. You know, with Mexico, that you kind of buy it, but you buy into something. Do they sell you well, you got a condo, right? So it's not like you had to buy land there, but there's no worry that, you know, some new government's going to come in and take it all away or anything, right?
Well, that's the United States.
Yeah.
Okay, I promised I wouldn't go there.
That's all right.
By the way, my decision to move had nothing to do with who's president.
Yeah, I mean, you're not one of those guys that says, I'm leaving if I don't get my way.
The thing is, I'm the president of my own United States. And the truth is, I'm going to be, December 28th, I'm going to be 66. That means in 14 years, I'll be 80.
Yeah.
And if I have my pants way up here and I'm walking down, if I'm still alive, because there's no guarantees. The thing is, I want to spend it in peaceful harmony and tranquility. Also I feel adventure. It's just great. And as soon as this COVID nonsense is over, I'm going to be going to Chile. I'm going to be going to Argentina. And but to answer your question, Panama and Ecuador both use U.S. currency.
Ah.
And all these banana republics, they use their own currency. So there could be a tremendous inflation. Of course, I'm a big fan of Ron Paul, and we are printing money too. You see what? So, in other words, but I still think it's better to gamble along with Uncle Sam.
That's right. Well, that's great. So so you use the U.S. dollar. That's great.
Yes, and I'll tell you what. I don't have a car. I didn't want a car because the people, they drive like loco en la cabeza.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you meet them, they're in no hurry. So why are they in such a hurry when they're driving? And then when you meet them, maybe mañana, So anyway, in Mexico, it's a little different there, okay? Because, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, and I'm sorry to monopolize, but
it was just somebody mentioned when they were there, they said, well, you buy in and you don't really own it. The Mexican government really owns the property, but you're the way that I couldn't understand the arrangement they had, but it didn't sound like they were, solid property owners there in Mexico.
Okay. I have a lawyer named Paul Molina, and he's a very nice man. And I could have two visas, a pensionado visa, which all you need is to prove that you're earning, $800 per month.
Uh-huh.
And everybody on Social Security does better than that. Okay. And then also, but the visa that I've got is the investor's visa, and you have to buy a house or property worth $40,000. That's the cutoff. So I'm not ashamed to admit it. $105,000. I bought my unit. It's one bed, one bath, 750 square feet.
Holy cow! That's incredible.
Going back to the BM thing, I only have one culo, so why would I need one more than one baño?
Exactly. But you're right there on the ocean. It's amazing. You said you have air conditioning in the condo, but you haven't used it yet because you got the ocean breeze, right?
I got the ocean breeze.
It's unbelievable. It's fantastic.
I feel like Bobby Darin somewhere
beyond the sea.
Yeah. And you know who I met? The guy, I forgot the guy's name, but the guy that wrote that also wrote for the ink spots, If I Didn't Care.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the guy's name, though, but I met him. And trust me, he wouldn't have remembered me because he was like 150.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But, Tom, I have to apologize. I just got a tickle in my throat. That's why I sound a little rough. So
I have a tickle too. I'll tell you why. I have a little bit of because I think I have a little bit of a cold, but whenever I've gotten two colds during this whole COVID thing, which I love. I welcome a cold because it shows that I'm exposing myself to the full to the world. I haven't been hiding. I'm in my basement now, but to tell you the truth, I've been ignoring a lot of the rules and going out and seeing people because I believe in exposing myself to germs and getting my own immune system working. So I relish the opportunity to have a little cold because then I get in bed early at night. I have my throat coat tea. I take care of myself, and then the cold is better, and I'm the better man because of it.
When I heard that you were exposing yourself, I was thinking about Lance Rensel and Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, no, I will not. No, I'm not going to expose. I'm fully clothed here, but.
Well, I'm not about to expose my shortcomings either, so no.
Well, Lanny, I just think it's great that you took the time to talk to us here. You're in paradise. You recommend it. I mean, if they get down to Ecuador, they should call you. I mean, I want you to get the commission if they buy a condo.
It's LannyPoffo@hotmail.com. That's LANNYPOFFO@hotmail.com.
That is great. You'll find him a property and set him up in paradise, and maybe you'll even set him up with a bidet.
You have to have a bidet, for crying out loud. Are you barbarians?
Well, Lanny, let's keep in touch, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Tom, if I can get the last word.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are the most polite and professional man I have ever met. I've met some people.
That is incredible.
Yes.
Thank you for saying it.
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Lanny. We'll see you soon.